Dear viewers, today my lesson is on poultry body systems and functions. So, under this title of poultry body systems and functions, I will try to explain on various aspects which form the structure of this lesson. First of all, I will tell you about poultry, then what are the parts of a chicken, then what are body systems and functions, external parts of birds, internal parts of birds, body systems of poultry, and lastly I will summarize about the whole lesson. There will be some outcomes while learning of this lesson. You will be able to identify different external and internal parts of chicken. At the same time, you will also be able to describe the skeletal, muscular, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, digestive, urinary, male and female reproductive systems of poultry. About poultry, as you know that the poultry is a short-lived bird creature and it is a rapid breather. This means it will inhale as well as excrete the air. So, it is a rapid breather and has a pulse rate about 300 to 370 beats per minute. Now, if you compare with the human beings where the pulse rate, normal pulse rate goes between 60 to 80 per minute. So, unlike human being, you are getting more number of heart rates in case of a chicken. Poultry is a warm blooded vertebrate, which means that their body temperature is relatively high, that is 41 degree Celsius or 106 degree Fahrenheit. Again, if you compare with the human being, you will be surprising to note that in human being the average body temperature is 98.4 degree Fahrenheit, whereas in the case of the bird, the normal temperature it is 106 degree Fahrenheit. No doubt, birds possess feathers, breastbone and spur, but lacks teeth. This means chickens do not have any teeth. Within a poultry, chickens have a comb and wattles which sets it apart from other birds. Poultry lay eggs and that are incubated outside the body. This means whatever the embryonic development or for developing a day old chicks, the entire exercise will be covering inside the egg, outside the body, whereas in mammals including human beings, the development of baby takes place inside the body, but in chicken it is not so. It is always in the within the eggs and outside the body. Now, parts of a chicken, you will find that since it is a bird, so it must be having some characteristics. So, mainly that is a comb that is on the top of the head, it is a muscular portion, sometimes it is a red color, sometimes it is a light red, and shape that also differs from breed to breed, and comb as well as beak, which is a for picking of the food particle and for a safer defense mechanism against any predator bite, and then wattles, these two are even including beak also. These three are a very specific functions, but right ear as well as eyes, shoulder, then breastbone or keel bone, and in leg side the hock, shank and toe. So, these are the, you can say, and no doubt the feather side, that is a again the pattern of the feathers that differs from breed to breed or from species to species. Because whenever you talk about poultry, you know that poultry contains many subspecies like chickens, ducks, guinea fowls, geese, turkeys, quails, etc. Now, first I will deal with the external parts of birds, and as you know that bird's body is covered with a combination of skin, feathers and localized scales. Now, what do you mean by feathers? As you know that since it is a bird, so its skin is covered with the feathers and body almost completely covered with feathers, and if you go on counting, then you can find that the range is between 6,000 to 10,000 in number and 4 to 8% of the body weight. So, this is the about the feathers, and feathers help in flying, providing insulation from extremes of temperature, maybe from heat or maybe from cold. Then head includes the parts like a comb, which is a red colored fleshy projection on top of head, variable in shape, and eyes, eyelids, eye rings, eyelashes, ears, ear lobes, wattles. These are two red pendulous muscles on either side of the eye or near the beak, and beak is meant for procuring food as well as for defense. Feet and shank. The shank and most parts of the feet are covered with the scales of various colors, and yellow color is due to dietary carotenoid pigments in the epidermis, which is also known as the outer skin layer, when melanic pigment is absent. So, that gives yellow color of the shank. Then important parts of the shank and foot are hock, shank, toes, 4 in number mostly, in some cases it may be 5 also. So, skin of a chicken or a skin of a poultry is very thin and smooth, but coarse comb. It is coarse on combs as well as wattles, ear lobes, beak, scales, uppers and claws. Now, what are the internal parts of the birds? So, the entire internal surface of the bird's body consists of various systems like skeletal, muscular, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, digestive, urinary, which is also called as excretory, reproductive, may be male as well as female. Now, I will try to touch one by one. A skeletal system. The skeleton of the chicken is light in weight, but very strong, and there are 13 or 14 cervical vertebra as well as 7 thoracic vertebra, and several coccygeal vertebrae are fused together and they will form a segment known as pygostyle, and which usually forms a skeletal support for feathers of the tail. Under muscular system, breast is very much important in case of a chicken. So, this is also known as a pectoral muscle, and it enables the bird to raise and lower its wing, sometimes provide largest share of meat obtained from a chicken. And you might have noticed that while buying a chicken, nowadays cut up chickens are available in the market, where you can differentiate between legs as well as breast. Somebody may prefer to take breast meat, otherwise somebody may like to take leg meat. So, voluntary muscles for movement and flight, whereas involuntary or smooth muscles for functioning of different organs such as heart, intestines, blood vessels and others. Under circulatory system, as you know that circulatory system consists of a heart and the blood vessels, maybe arteries and veins. So, in that case, heart of the chicken has a 4 chambers, so 2 atria and 2 ventricles. I think it is almost alike with the other mammals including human beings, where you will find 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. But pulse rate, certainly it is a very higher side, and it goes 300 to 370 beats per minute, whereas blood constitutes about 12% of body weight when it is at chick stage and 6 to 8% in the adult hen or cock. Respiratory system, as you know, that it consists of a paired lungs as well as then trachea and larynx and nasal cavities and bronchi. So, in case of a chicken also, the respiratory system of a bird consists of a nasal cavities, larynx, trachea, syrinx, bronchi, lungs, air sacs. And you will observe respiration rate in case of a bird, it is coming to 15 to 25 per minute in resting condition. I think it is almost equal to human beings. Even human beings also the respiration rate goes between 12 to 18 or maximum 20, 22, whatever you call it. So, it is almost alike, but in case of a heartbeat, that is called a pulse rate, you have seen a tremendous on a higher side, but in respiration almost identical to mammalians. Nervous system, as you know that nervous system also consists of a brain and the spinal cord starting from neck to the last ending at tail. So, brain and spinal cord, sympathetic nerves controlling the viscera and branches leading to the eyes and ears. And in poultry, you might have noticed there is one term that is known as a fowl paralysis. So, how you will define a fowl paralysis? It is often associated with thickening of the sciatic nerve, and that converts a condition known as a fowl paralysis. Under the muscles will be paralyzed, birds will be unable to stand and unable to walk, unable to take proper feed and water. So, it is a very, sometimes it is a very fatal, and it will no doubt it will affect the production of a bird also. So, fowl paralysis is nothing, it is just due to the thickening of the sciatic nerve. Digestive system, it is a very comprehensive system. In late term, it starts from mouth and ends to the cloaca last, that is the anus. So, in the case of the mouth, tongue is there in case of chicken, but no teeth, esophagus, crop, proventriculus, gizzard, small intestine, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, ceca, large intestine, cloaca, vent. So, here you have noticed that gizzard, though the bird's digestive system is a single stomach, unlike to the cattle or sheep and goat, where they are having the 4 stomachs, means rumen, reticulum, omasum, abomasum. So, but here it is a single stomach, but certainly the chickens do have gizzard for grinding of the food particles, coarser particles, making into a smaller particles. So, this is the gizzard, which is a very unique, you can say, rest other parts is almost are similar. So, carbohydrate and protein digestion as well as microbial fermentation of crude fiber or fiber takes place in ceca part of a small intestine. So, of a, you can say, in the case of a poultry. Urinary excretory system, again it consists of a paired kidneys and then coming out from the ureters from each kidney and urinary bladder and urethra. So, these 4 components or these 4 parts will make the urinary or excretory system as a whole. So, in case of chicken, you will find 2 kidneys that are located just behind the lungs, and a single ureter connects each kidney with the cloaca, and the urine, mainly uric acid mixed with feces in cloaca and excreted as white pasty material known as dropping. So, this is also one major difference in case of a birds, that urine and fecal materials both are voided together mixed together. Now, whereas in case of the mammals or even in human beings, urine as well as fecal materials both are excreted by differently and by different routes. But in case of a chicken, the urine and the fecal material both are mixed and both are voided through a cloaca, and finally the ending or terminating part of the cloaca is known as vent. In case of reproductive system, first I will tell about male reproductive system. Male reproductive system of any living creature consists of a testis, the vas deferens. So, here in case of a two testis and two vas deferens normally retained in abdomen, unlike of mammals, because in mammalians you will find that it is the outside the body in the form of a pendulous, but in case of a birds both testis as well as vas deferens they are already retained in the abdomen, and sperm cells are formed in the testis. Vas deferens starting from epididymis and ends in cloaca in the form of a papilla, which is a rudimentary copulatory organ. In case of reproductive system female, it consists of many parts starting from ovary and oviduct. There are two ovaries and two oviducts at the time of a hatching of a chick. But as the birds grow, passes growing phase and touches to sexual maturity, becomes old, you will find that only the left ovary and left oviduct functional, whereas right ovary and right oviduct degenerate and remain rudimentary. This means whatever eggs you are getting from your bird, it is the only product from the left ovary traversing through the oviduct and coming out from through cloaca and vent. Infundibulum is the second part of the female reproductive system of a chicken. It is a funnel shaped upper portion of the oviduct, and after ovulation the yolk drops in ovarian pocket and body cavity from which it is picked up by the infundibulum. Now, I will tell about the egg formation. It is a continuous process. In the case of a chicken hen, egg forming is go on coming up starting from the pinpoint to the complete depositions of various parts inside the egg. Normally, you will find three parts. One is the egg cover, that is known as egg cell, which is hardly 3 to 4 gram out of 55 to 60 grams of chicken eggs. And inside material you will find two, one is known as a white, other is a yellow. Yellow portion of egg is called yolk, which contains plenty of fats, whereas white parts of the chicken egg, that is known as albumin, which contains plenty of proteins. But no doubt other nutrients like vitamins and minerals, they are embedded in both the parts, both the portion, whether it is a white or whether it is a yolk. So, that is why I told that after ovulation the yolk, which is called a first deposition in the yellow color. So, or while manufacturing of egg inside the female reproductive system of a chicken, the yolk gets first appearance. So, this yolk drops in a ovarian pocket or the body cavity and it is picked up by the infundibulum. Here you will find that yolk remains for only 15 minutes, and then this yolk will be forced along the oviduct by multiple contraction to other parts of the female's reproductive system of a chicken. Now, the third part, that is a magnum, and this magnum is a albumin secreting portion and is highly vascular. The yolk is tumbled in the magnum for uniform deposition of white albumin material, and the duration of stay is 3 hours. So, now you have seen that yolk dropping from ovary through a tube known as oviduct, and under that oviduct it will be picked up, that yolk, by infundibulum, and after yolk, this which is a yellow in color, so the albumin, it will go on depositing over the yolk. That is the reason then when you break a raw chicken egg or when you open a boiled chicken egg, you will find that the yellow portion or yolk is centrally placed, whereas white portion is the around the yellow one, so over and above. So, you will find a complete mixture on transaction or transection, you will find that a complete white layer, in center yellow. So, yellow portion will be called as a yolk and white portion, that will be called as albumin. So, albumin secretion tree organ are a parts of the oviduct or the female reproductive system, that is a magnum, and here the duration of stay is 3 hours. So, most of the proteins are secreted here and deposited in albumin. So, you can say the plenty of proteins you can find only through albumin, whereas the plenty of fats and cholesterol and other fatty acids you will find through yolk. Now, isthmus, this is the incomplete egg, moves to a narrow, comparatively less vascular portion of the oviduct called as isthmus, and the duration of stay is 1.5 hours. So, here the inner and outer cell membranes are formed in such a manner as to represent the final shape of the egg. Now, you have seen that isthmus is a egg cell secreting part, whereas magnum is the albumin secreting part, whereas the infundibulum just for trapping the yolk. So, these two components, whether it is a yolk or albumin, and even the third one, that is the egg cell, and beside the outer cell membrane you will find one inner cell membrane also there. So, that is why you have seen the, now you can say very well that the complete egg has been formed. So, but the time taking, that is also there, one of the important. So, this means the egg formation or egg manufacturing, it is a physiological process, normal reproductive system, and it takes continuous processing for making different layers of egg or different components of egg, whether it is albumin or yolk or egg cell, but it all will be circulating or it all will be completing within the egg inside the body system. Now, incomplete egg stays in uterus, which is also a part 16 to 18 hours, it is the longest part you can say, and at the junction of isthmus and uterus, two cords like structure appear on either side of the yolk and known as chalaza. So, maximum duration of stay for a, whether it is a complete or incomplete egg inside the uterus, and cuticles let down on outside of the cell, it is formed in uterus itself, and uterus also, which this cuticle acts as a lubricant while egg is being laid, and that is the reason then when you visit a nearby poultry farm and if you just see the freshly laid eggs, you will find a slimy or you will find a lubricating on the egg, and this lubricant also helps passing of or coming out of a whole egg through the vent of a bird. So, color of the cell, no doubt it is a genetic factor, it is related with the breed and breed. So, in case of a RIR, which is a dual type of bird, so there you can see cell color of egg is brown, whereas in white leghorn the egg cell color is white. So, this coloration of cell is normally deposited before the laying of the egg, and it is due to the porphyrin salt. Vagina, no doubt it is not a part of the reproductive system, but certainly it is the end of the female reproductive system. So, this is the last part of the oviduct is vagina, though it has no role in egg formation and only serves to expel the egg once it leaves the cell gland. Now, while summarizing, I will tell that poultry's body is covered with a combination of skin, feathers and localized scales. And like other living creatures or other biological species, this poultry also having external as well as internal structures, and among internal structures you may be getting skeletal, muscular, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, digestive, urinary, which is also known as excretory, male and female reproductive system. So, that is the, you can say, the different components of reproductive system, internal structures of a chicken. I hope the outcome or the outlines given through the present lesson will be beneficial for understanding on different body systems and their functions of a poultry. Thanks for nice viewing.